So this guy's uploaded a photo of a Mark II, and let's just say it could be better. And he wants 6.5 for it, and everyone's rattling him on the forum. So I might give him a call later and just give him a little tickle. So just done finished today. Another 12 hours on the clock. So I did get a chance before I went home to draw up some damper mounts I'm going to do. So for those of you who know, the damper mounts on a standard axle are kind of across the axle, and what I was going to do on my spare case was cut the mounts off, machine some stubs and put them in line with the car, so that when your axle tilts, you know, you're not rinsing the bush trying to bend it left and right. It'll just be kind of rotating the bush as such. You'll be springing rather than kind of actually crushing. But anyway, they're elastic bushes, they're rubber, that's all good. What I was going to do was obviously weld the new mounts on, and then I had a bit of a brainwave. I thought, is it good to cut them all off and make new ones and all this when I haven't actually tried them yet? So what I've just drawn up and what I'm going to make is a set of aluminium cradles that bolt in the original damper mounts on the original bolt, and then I get another bolt hole drilled through that and the cradle, and then the shocks bolt in about an inch higher up and at a 16-degree angle, and we'll see how she flexes. So what I'll do, if I get time tomorrow, I'm going to get her up on the forklift again. She's got just over half a tank, so obviously it'll be long range tank. That's about halfway on the doodah. She's sort of fully loaded, if you like, so I'll put her up on the forklift and take some measurements of full flex at the back, left and right, and then I don't know, next week or something we'll get to making these brackets, and we'll stick her up again and see if we can get more out of it. Look at these beauties. I can't show you the sticks because they're in the back because they're greasy and they're with the boots and whatever, but when they come apart it's such a nice fit. That's obviously your 5-speeder, and that's obviously for your transfer. Just pops in there. So I suppose when we put these in, this is kind of like the last piece of Hilby Deluxe, these two pieces, because we've got to put the shifters in and the centre console, and that's all that buttoned up. And then exterior wise, we've just got the bumper to put on after Charlie sprayed it. So the bumper's all done, just need to cut a paint. Alright, so she's just starting to pick the front right tyre up. So I'm going to get my tape measure out and measure from the bottom of the rim to the flare, and then do the other side, and then I'm going to whip the dampers off and go again. And that left hand damper's at 490, and we're starting to get a bit of negative arch on the springs as well. Copper slip. Right, so they're both hanging in the wind now. I'm going to lift her up side to side again, take some more measurements. Alright, so key measurements for that then were 680 from compression on that side, 690 compression on this side, sorry, I ain't even pointing in the right direction. And then about 960 and 970 respectively on the extension. I'm going to see about getting some more droop out of it, so I don't know about taking the spring clamps off of the pack, or perhaps getting rid of the load leaves and adding 2 more what I'd call normal leaves, so they're not as thick, so it's a springy pack, less weight carrying but more springiness for 5 leaves, if you get me. So let's get the forklift back in and get parked up. I just grabbed myself a few hot wings. Judging by how long I had to wait, I think they were still trying to run around and catch a chicken. Who on earth for £6.5 for a Mark II? That was quite clearly being wheeler dealer. You know, the type of bloke who flips cars.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a direct injection, is it?
Yeah.
Alright. Nice. I'm just looking because it's up for 6.5. What's the lowest you'd take?
I'll be totally honest with you. I'm not really budging on price. I've had a look and they're making that sort of money.
Oh, okay. But otherwise you've done nothing to it?
Absolutely nothing to it.
Alright. Why are you selling it, bud?
I've just basically got it in and I'm just selling it.
He weren't going to fall into my trap. 6.5 grand though, and the previous owner slapped grey paint over the fucking... you can see how crusty it is in the pictures. Oh, sorry, excuse me. Like Dave sent me some fucking pictures of it. And you could see the fucking lumpiness under the paint. It's just... oh. Damn. Oh, I wish I could have rattled him a bit more, to be honest with you. Fucker. It's going to get him going right good. Oh well. But yeah, like I said in my last video about Mark II prices, they are up and down, but don't go fucking paying 6 grand for that. I mean, I asked him if he'd go any lower and he said he weren't budging. Fuck. Like, even if a truck's, I say mint, there's not really such thing as a mint Mark II nowadays, but if it's in good nick and there's no rust on the outside and the chassis is in good nick and the wings are good, you'd probably give a maximum of like 3.8, 4k if it was low mileage and it was rust free and the interior weren't ripped and all this. But seeing that he's had the bumper filled, it's rotten, he's put an MOT on it, so you know he's done a dodgy if he's got 12 months test on it. Straight giveaway. It's just a fucking joke, because even if he takes it trading and flips it, he's still making like 3.5, 3 grand straight away. So yeah, don't be foolish, don't buy someone else's problem, and like I said in the last video, we'll do a buyer's guide so none of you lot get ripped off, because there's people out there. I went to look at one years ago before I bought this, and the bloke tried to have me over, and I knew what was going on, so I didn't buy it. But it's when you look back and you think, yeah, fucking hell, I was willing to pay probably best part of 3.2 for it because it looked clean, and then when you actually got to it, body filler, you know, the engine's shaking and bits that people hide, and they know because you get it there and it's been for a test drive or it's warm already, and then you say to them, oh, it's got a leak from the rocker cover. Oh, no, that's nothing, that just needs nipping up. Yeah, okay, but if it just needs nipping up, why haven't you done it? It's the age-old easy fix, isn't it? You know, oh, quick sale, need a quick sale, need it gone. Just needs an EGR valve because the engine light's on. Well, you can just put one on then, can't you? I'm really not a big believer of just needs this, just needs a thermostat, especially a Rangers like the way they are. Cooling system wise. Mate tabbed me something a while back, and he goes, oh, it's Ranger for sale, 1,800 quid. Like, to be fair, it looked like a good truck, but it said, oh, top radiator split, it just needs a new radiator and a stat. You'll be good to go. But I don't have the time to do it. It's like, mate, a radiator's 70 quid. It's not exactly hard to chuck a radiator in, is it? It's 2 bolts and 2 hoses. And a stat, again, 2 bolts and the bottom hose whilst you got it off. So, for anyone that sort of says, oh, you know, haven't got the time to fix it, well, fuck me. That's a half-hour car park job. So, yeah, it's a little bit different if you go to someone who's not mechanically minded at all. But the chances are they'd have just got the mechanic to fix it anyway. But, yeah, rant over. It's always a dodgy one with cars, isn't it? You never know what you're getting. But if we can do a nice in-depth, I'm not going to lie, it's probably going to be a long video, but if I go around the trucks around the field, because obviously they're a bit more accessible for sliding under and having a look at stuff and getting in where you need to look, and then we'll also have a look around, say, Charlie's truck or Tom's when they come, because they're still fairly Mark II-ish. Mine's a bit of a hybrid at the moment. So yeah, but if I spot someone with Mark II I'm friends with, and they come down for the day, I'll be sure to slide my head under and have a look, point to all the bits and pieces, and like I say, do a checklist, do a run through. Because there's lots of parts that can go wrong. You know, for the most part these trucks are fairly simple and fairly reliable, but there's obviously lots of little bits that you need to check in order to reduce your spendings later on. I mean, you can buy a car and think, oh, this is gravy. Like, for instance, your mate bought a Beamer. I had an E36 and probably had it for 6 months. He went and bought one. And by then I was starting to get to know the car and get my hands around it. And he went to view this saloon, it was 1.8 saloon. And he's like, what do you reckon? I said, well, water pump's leaking, central locking don't work, rear tabs need doing, you know, this, that, and this, and this, and this. All the common faults, sloppy key barrel, dual climate control not working, all this stuff. He's like, oh, that's not too bad. So anyway, he gave 400 quid for this car, so fair enough. Beamer for 400 quid. But then he spent the next 6 months going through all them fucking problems. And, you know, a new dual valve for the climate control for dual zone. New key barrel, because we come home one night and he turned the car off. Had the keys in his hand and the fucker's still running. So I had to take the column off and pull the switch out the back and undo it. And then like doing the water pump, this. And it was just like, you know what? If you'd have said no, gone down the road the next week and looked for a different one, you probably could have avoided all these little bits that are, I wouldn't say they're a problem because they're just little bits, but they do add up. You know, rear trailing arm bushes, what are they, 40 quid, 50 quid? But then the time to do them, the bolts are rotten, the heads won't come undone because they're all rounded off, you've got to cut it out. I like to make a new repair plate, weld it in the seal. You know, like, well, it's what it is, isn't it? It's time. So, I mean, don't get me wrong, my E36 weren't too good either. I managed to rip it round a roundabout and pull the anti-roll bar mount off the chassis rail. So, yeah, new one of them welded on. Can you believe a new one of them was only 14 quid from BMW, genuine, for the pressed steel part? I couldn't believe it, to be honest. I was going to fabricate one, I was going to drill one off a scrap car in a scrap yard, and just scrolling through the forums like you do, and someone said, yeah, genuine one, 14 quid plus VAT. No brainer, innit? So, yeah. We've all had our fair share of dealings with cars, but I like the Rangers. They're pretty workable. And it's old technology, isn't it? You know, it's, most people you see and you say it about this, this and this. Oh, well, have you checked this? You know, it might be the injector, might be 400 quid. And you say, hang on a minute, it's 04 plate, but they're still not common rail. They've still not got a dual mass flywheel. They've really simplified them. It's a proper working truck where, you know, there was no frills. My mate had a 53 plate Frontier, right? Heated leather seats, you know, with dashboard leather and all this. And, well, admittedly, yeah, it's comfy. And he looks in mine and he goes, oh, you haven't got this, you haven't got that, you haven't got heated seats. I said, yeah, mate, but 16 years ago this was a workman's truck, and it was like to get you to work, to get you home from work. Not to tow your 40-foot caravan down to the coast for a weekend. You know?